All right. Hello, everyone. This is the monthly CSI Community Meeting. It's April 23rd, and we have one agenda item. Xing, why don't you walk us through this agenda item? And if anyone else has anything, it's not too late to add to the agenda while we're on the first topic.
So yeah, I think I've been talking about this multiple times already. I remember I think I pinned you. You were not in the 6:30 meeting, right? So I did um
Oh, yeah,
bring.
something came up last week. Sorry.
Right, yeah, no, yeah. And Sad also he also has something, so he also was not there. So I did I brought this up. I basically just talked about what we already discussed in the previous this meeting, right?
Yeah.
This community meeting, saying we're going to add this gas snapshot in CSS. Um, I think
Well,
the
it was I think we had discussed this a month ago,
yes,
and
it did. Yeah,
we were leaning towards a solution that involved changing the sidecars, and then at one of the data protection meetings, we
right,
convinced ourselves that actually it's probably better to just do this and then
right.
reevaluate.
So right, yeah. So I think I think the in previous meeting we have something we call it option 2.5 or something. We just change sidecar and then add this get snapshot. But I think folks do not like to change sidecar to create the volume snapshot content in two places, depending on whether you create an individual snapshot or create a group snapshot. So that got rejected, right? So we kind of went through that. So I was just trying to talk about this in last meeting. There are some concerns from community members. I think there's someone actually from NADAP. I don't know if you know him. I actually forgot his name. I think he's doing a POC of this feature. Um,
Okay.
so I think he is
And he didn't like the idea of Get Snapshot, or he didn't like
right.
making
So
group snapshots
he
depend on Get Snapshot.
uh yeah, he does not like group snapshot to depend on kind of the reason we already discussed before. I mean, we kind of know. So he actually, I think he actually prefers option one. Option one, we talked about that's making the API change. I think we
Right.
by the API change, right? Um, so I was thinking about that, right? I think I'm also updating the cap. If you look at I added include the link to the cap there. I think one main thing is I think there's if we do not make the API change, one main problem is I actually added here. So it's for pre-provisioned group snapshot. So today is actually very inconvenient when you create a group snapshot. If it's pre-provisioned, user actually have to go create the group snapshot of API objects and also the individual volume snapshot and the volume snapshot contents manually. It's really inconvenient if we do not have this change in the API, I mean, it's doable
Well,
within
I mean, can you spell out like
the
the
reason.
different? Yeah, no,
Oh,
no, no.
yeah,
I
okay.
understand like why you have to
Yeah.
create all the API
Okay.
objects,
So
but
let's
what can we do to make it easier?
yeah. Okay. So basically, if you look at the maybe let's see, will I be able to share? Maybe you need to
I,
let me
I
share.
could. What do I have to do? Make you a
Co-host. I
co-host?
think make it co-host.
How
Yeah.
do I do that? I'm just
If you go to my name and then there should be somewhere allow you to
yeah.
set.
Here it is. Make
Yeah.
co-host. I got it.
Replace current share. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
maybe you want to stop share
yeah.
first, so this way I
Yeah.
don't kick you out because otherwise you have to switch screen, I
There you
think.
go.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's see. So where's my screen? Okay, I think this is the screen I want to share. That's right. Oh, is this right? Okay. Yeah, this is the one, right? So I just want to remind you this issue with, is it too small or can you see this? Can
It's
you,
pretty small.
okay,
Just
let me see if I,
increase by 150% or
oh, oh, oh,
200%.
oh, right, okay.
There we go.
Yeah. Right. So remember this problem, right? So when we do create a group snapshot, we actually will get back all the information for the group snapshot and all the information for the individual snapshots, right? I think we talked about this last time, but then we didn't save the size, creating time, everything. We only saved snapshot ID and volume ID. And then we rely on list snapshots to populate those information for individual snapshots. So that's that's the problem. That's why, the bug. That's why we got that bug, right?
Yeah.
And then for static provisioning, we don't do create group snapshot. We just call get group snapshot. So it's the same thing. When you call get group snapshot, you get the same information, right? You will also get all
Wait,
the
wait,
data.
wait. We have a get group snapshot and not a get snapshot.
Yeah, we have a get group snapshot. That's part of the
Oh,
voting group.
is there a list group snapshot?
I'm sorry, we don't have a
Is
list group
there?
snapshot. We have a get group snapshot because
Okay.
this was added later, right? Remember, I think we had a get voting first, and then after
Yeah, yeah.
that,
We had learned our lesson with the volumes
yeah,
and the
yeah, yeah,
listing, so
yeah.
we had to get volume, but we didn't do it for regular snapshots, which is what surprised me. Because if we realized we needed it for
That
group
was because
snapshots,
that was
we should have
already,
realized
yeah,
we needed it for regular snapshots at the same time. Oh
yeah,
well.
because I think it was already kind of, because it's GA, nobody complained about it, so we didn't do anything, right?
Yeah.
Until now. Now we kind of, have this problem multiple times. So, yeah. Okay,
Okay.
so
Well,
huh?
does
What?
does get group snapshot get you everything?
Get snapshot give you everything that
No,
is
get
defined in
group
the snapshot
snapshot.
message. Oh, get snapshot. Yes, get group snapshot actually give you group snapshot and also the individual snapshots. But you need to, when you call the problem, the only problem is when you call get group snapshot, you actually need to specify the IDs. Remember that was you requested that one. Remember that? So like
Yes.
that's the only thing. It's actually sometimes a little difficult. Sometimes you actually need to
Well, no, no, but rewinding back to the original issue, which was this problem where we couldn't get the sizes. Like, why can't get group snapshot be the way we get the sizes if it's already a
yeah, yeah.
mandatory
So,
part
so
of it?
that's what I'm just saying. That I'm trying to say that we still need to have that API change. Otherwise, it's still not sufficient.
But I didn't when we had the discussion before, I didn't realize
Okay.
we had a get group snapshot. Somehow that escaped my notice.
We do have
So
get.
what
Okay,
so if we have get group
the
snapshot, why can't that be the way
that
that
is
we get
still
all of
not
this
sufficient.
information?
We still do not have the volume snapshot content because remember when we are doing the sync, right, in those sidecars or somewhere, we have this object, then we kind of try to populate information.
Mhm.
We don't have those, but at that time we don't have the individual, no, unless if we say, hey, when we create group snapshot, we also create individual content or something, then we can rely on that one. Otherwise, we still do not have that, right?
Well, you could have two reconciler loops, one that
But it's but
creates the volume snapshot
the,
content and leaves
uh,
the fields
yeah,
blank, and then another reconciler that's reconciling the group.
it's not. It's going to be it's also like, how are you going to decide? It's going to be very slow. How are you going to decide? Like in your group snapshot, right? So it has this. You have this IDs, right? How are you going to loop through everything to find out what is the group snapshot content? It's just going to be very expensive. And also you're doing that
No,
one.
I'm thinking you could do one CSI RPC, which is get the group snapshot, which should get you all the information. And then,
The
yeah, like
problem
you'd
is
have to mash up the information to get the
how you get then you have to go make an API call to find all the group snapshot content to match it, right?
no, no, but you
Find the
would have
matching.
those in your
I don't have
what do
that.
they call it? In your cache,
Oh,
in your
I don't know.
watcher. The watcher cache would have everything.
You need to find a match. I don't have that. When I do like get when when we are doing the sync, you only have this one object. You don't have in the API, you don't have all those objects because you have the key of this one thing. You're not like keying like 10 or
But
like
but there's nothing that stops you from looking up the other ones.
yeah, but that's very expensive. You do that, it's going to be very expensive. You have to
And
do
not if you have a watcher cache that's it's
no,
running in the same
no, it's
controller. I mean,
no, it's going to be very expensive. I don't have that. I don't because the get group snapshot when I doing that sync, I don't really have I only have a Okay, actually, let me show you. I think I have it somewhere. I don't know where I did it though. I didn't put it in this file, maybe. Yeah, it's going to be very expensive for you to find that match. We actually look at that one because I was trying to fix this problem of you know, static provisioning cannot find all the individual group snapshot snapshot contents. It's very difficult to find the match. It's just it's a different because all our code we are just we have like based on this one key we're doing the syncing. This is like yeah, no, this is just too much. It's
Okay. Well, uh,
oh, so what I'm saying is
what is the new API proposal for statically provisioned group snapshots? If
uh
we have get snapshot, what
well,
does the
it's
user have
basically
to
just
do?
the same what that we have in the option one, right? I don't have anything new. It's the same as we talked about in option one. Basically, just add size, green time in the volume.
No. I'm talking about the user experience who's creating a statically
Oh,
provisioned.
then user will just need to create volume group snapshot and volume group snapshot content. They don't have to create individual volume.
But what information do they need to do that? Like just one snapshot ID, a group snapshot ID?
They need to provide individual snapshot IDs, right, to construct them because
You have
those
to
are
know you have to know
yeah.
the
Okay,
IDs,
okay.
but
Let
you
me
don't have to create
hold on. Let me
the volume snapshot content objects. The controller will do that for you.
you
I'm
yeah.
just trying to understand how this
Yes,
is
yes,
better.
yes. We should be able to. Once we have that, we
Okay.
should be able to. If we have those, because then we can rely on the existing individual volume snapshot. That reconcile loop.
Yeah. I'm starting to get nervous because now we're going to have three different ways of getting the snapshot information. There's going to be the return value from create volume group snapshot. There's going to be the return value from get group snapshot, and there's going to be the
Oh,
return
we
value
already
from
have that. That's not new,
get
right?
snapshot.
We already.
No, I know, but we're adding a get snapshot is like another way of getting information. There's already at least three other ways to get. Um,
Get
although,
snapshot, get snapshot, if we have this API chain, the get snapshot is not required anymore. But we know that some people cannot implement list snapshot. That's kind of it's an existing problem we have from day one.
when you can implement a
Always
subset of lists, you can implement the singleton subset of list snapshot. That's always been perfectly legal, I think.
but they do not want. I think this one we talked to Seth, right? Because they are the one who cannot implement these snapshots. And also it's kind of weird. You
Yeah.
say, oh, you say you support this snapshot, but you're not really supporting these snapshots because it's like a subset of things, right? So I think
Well,
if so we get
the,
snapshot is still a
the
good
issue
thing.
from the beginning was always before we even had snapshots and we were discussing list volumes and what the semantics of it was supposed to be, there was a big question about do you have to list volumes that Kubernetes never knew about or that the CO never knew about? Or we could never reach agreement about what the list had to contain. And so we sort of left it undefined. We were like, well, list whatever you know about. And it can be an empty list, and that's fine. Uh, because it is hard to define, if you have a storage system with multiple users, only one of which is Kubernetes, there's a bunch of other volumes that Kubernetes was never involved with. Like, should a list volumes tell you about those volumes? Like, you could argue both sides of that. So I don't have any problem with leaving it undefined what list returns. Um, and I think a list snapshot has all the same effects, right? Snapshots can be created by things other than CSI, in which case you
Yeah,
may or
but
may
then are you saying we're going to change CSS back saying, hey, you can if
no,
we can
I'm saying
identify.
my pre-existing understanding of the CSI spec was that it was perfectly fine to return an empty list of snapshots
Did we
unless
have that?
someone
I don't remember that we
specified a
actually,
snapshot
I don't
name.
remember we have that. If we have that, maybe it's okay. We're just telling those people, telling Red Hat saying, hey, just
Yeah,
implement
you
snapshots.
can implement list as a get, and it's always been that way. Now, I agree that's
We're just saying
weird, and
we
having an
don't have,
actual get is
I
better.
don't think we
But
have that in the, yeah, I don't think we have that in our CSS spec. If we have that written out, then maybe we can persuade them to implement that.
uh, yeah, well, but I
But
mean,
I don't know.
it's
I feel
it's
like
new implementation one way or the other. I'm not saying we shouldn't do get. I'm
okay.
not saying we shouldn't do
Okay.
get.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
should do
I
it.
know. I think we talked about this last time. I think yeah, list snapshot with specific. We can say, hey, we can ask them, do you want to do that? But they may still do not like it because it's not. We didn't really clearly say in CSS aspect, you know, this is something you can do. I mean, it's implicit, but I don't think we called it out. I think that's the thing.
Just to get the meeting back on track, because we're already 2/3 of the way through.
Oh
What
yes.
questions did you want to answer about this proposal in this meeting? Or
Oh,
what
I
did you
just
want
want
to
to
get a
let
decision made?
before. No, I just want to let you know this one, right? So I think still need to go talk to other people, see if they agree, because in Kubernetes CSI, just I need to ask others if they agree with this, right?
All right.
So I
Is
think
any
personally, I think this is better to make this API change. It's going to be painful. We have to, make this a conversion available all the time. But I think, yeah, especially after I look at this pre-provisioned case, I think this is much better. Even though, we can say that, oh, you don't have, it's just a little bit more
wait,
painful.
wait, wait.
And,
Are you saying you're now proposing option one again?
right. That's what I'm
Oh,
saying. Oh, sorry. I did that not making it clear. I'm
I
just,
didn't grasp
this
that.
is sorry. So that's why I listed cap update. So that's why I
Yeah,
listed
but we
option one.
discussed this in the data protection working group meeting, and
I
the
know.
agreement was that writing
Yeah.
those conversion webhooks
Yeah,
for
right.
upgrading and downgrading
Correct,
objects
correct.
is a
Yeah.
lot of work,
But
and we'll have to
now I'm
carry
just
those forever.
yeah, yeah. So right now, that's why I'm talking about this pre-provision case, right? So we can all say, oh yeah, we don't really care about pre-provision case, but I do care about pre-provision case.
No, I care about it. So my
It's just
stance is
harder, right? I think last time I did not think about this one, but this one definitely will make it easy. Otherwise, they just have to manually create all of those objects.
well, my feeling about pre-provisioned snapshots is that human beings are never going to be doing that. Like people will build tools that do it for them. And as long as it's possible to do it,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter how much data you
It
have to
is
transfer
it is
over.
possible. Yeah, it is possible. It's
So
definitely not nice because
because people are going to have tools that do it. They're going to say, okay, take this snapshot, back it up on this cluster, then go restore it on this cluster and rehydrate all the objects and point it in a way and such that Kubernetes is happy to use it. Like you would use a tool for that. No human being would ever do that manually.
yeah, of
So
course. It's just make it easier or it's just user experience basically,
I think the important thing is that it's foolproof and that like you can't confuse the system by entering incorrect information or that kind of thing, right?
uh well, it's the
Like
they
if the
can, I
user
guess. They can,
if the
right?
user enters incorrect information, we have to reliably detect it and respond appropriately by like not doing anything or by raising an error instead of just like doing the wrong thing. Um, I'm imagining a case of you have a group snapshot with 5 snapshots in it, and you get 4 of the IDs right and one of the IDs wrong. Like the system needs to be able to say, oh wait, this snapshot ID I don't know about, and therefore like I'm not going to
Well, so
do
that
anything,
going
right?
back to list snapshot is not required, right? So there's no way. That static provision for volume, we don't really check to see if it's a valid the UID or not, right? You know that, right?
But if there's a group
But we
snapshot
don't we
ID
don't
that you
we
have
don't
to
check.
include,
Huh?
if
I'm
there's a
just
group
I'm
snapshot
just I'm
ID,
just saying I'm just saying traditionally in static provisioning case, we always leave it to admin's hands. We actually, you know,
yeah, but
even
it's
for
possible for the admin to enter something that's nonsensical.
volumes we don't even check if it's valid. For snapshot, we actually check if you implement it, list snapshot. We're going back to
We
that.
don't check if it's valid, but
We
but
check.
there's
Our
an
API check.
expectation that the CSI
Snapshot
driver will
Snapshot
will
controller checks that. Snapshot control checks if it's valid. But the requirement that you have to implement that, right? If list snapshot is optional. If you do not implement it, then we just assume admin is correct. So I'm just saying admin always have a way to
okay.
they can always
All right,
criticize
all right, all
they
right.
don't make that
I mean,
requirement.
yeah, I have mixed feelings about the whole group snapshot because there's 2 different ways of
Uh,
doing it. Given that we have more people here, I wanted to make sure. Does anyone else have any questions about group snapshots or any comments they want to add to the discussion? Because I don't want to monopolize the whole meeting. Um,
I
Was
don't
there
know.
any, okay, was there any other topics we needed to discuss, or should we just finish out on the group snapshot? I didn't see anything else added to the agenda, so that's fine. Okay. All right, well, we can spend the last 5 minutes getting squared away here. Um, so the proposal is to implement get snapshot in CSI, but just because it's good to have, but then to also pursue option number one, where we're going to change the Kubernetes API to V1 Beta 2.
That's
That's
my
what I'm,
proposal, though. I still need to see if other people agree with this.
okay.
Right now, I'm
Yeah,
thinking this is
I
better.
think that's a pretty heavy lift, and
Yes. Yeah.
I liked
Yeah.
the potential shortcut of just any
Right, right.
CSI RPC and the minimal behavior change.
Because I need to
But
update
the
that.
downside of that would have been impact to the vendors. So
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, I'm working on this cap update, right? I think it's kind of hard to say, hey, why, now we just purely rely on get snapshot, right? So it's still good to have. I have that in the cap, but if you're just saying like this is purely rely on this one, it's a little bit hard to explain the reason. I guess it's possible, but yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what so our cap is there, so we'll see what others think. But I think it's the right thing to do. Because otherwise, every time I'm explaining this, the one that I was just showing you, always we always realize that, oh, we kind of throw away those information.
so what's the timeline? If we go down this V1 Beta 2, we're gonna have to have like a conversion webhook. We're gonna have to have a new API design. I mean,
It's going to be
update
VM
the
beta
API.
2. It's going to be VM beta 2. Yeah. So
And then we'll have to have a conversion webhooks go in. So that'll take like a release, right, to get the new API and the
right,
conversion webhooks
yes.
in.
Yeah.
And then how long would we need to soak that until we could bust that Beta 2
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. But I was
as
just
the
thinking maybe similar, the CSI spec also because we added it's experimental, right? When we first added it's experimental, then we need to
Mhm.
at least wait for one release, make for that one to be non-experimental, right? So I'm just
Yeah.
thinking both probably will take similar amount of time, I'm guessing. I don't see one is quicker. Because get snapshot cannot go GA directly, right?
Okay. So
So
you reminded me of something, which is as I was reviewing your Get Snapshot change proposal, I noticed there was a bunch of other stuff in the CSI spec
oh,
that's pretty old
Michelle,
that's still marked alpha. Uh,
which one? We probably need to
I,
clean up.
I
Which one?
yeah, I have to go look, but I'm just I guess what I'm suggesting is as a community, we should go through and figure out which things have had enough soak time and take them out of
Yeah,
alpha
I
and
actually
promote
noticed that
them.
the other day. Actually, I
Yes.
think I need to
But
go
there's a
back and
lot of
check that.
stuff that's still
There was a
alpha.
there was a
Um,
volume health related one. I thought we moved it to GA, but it sounds like we missed something. I need to go
well,
back and check.
volume health I don't know about, but there
No,
was another
we
one.
moved it to GA, but then I think the other day I was checking something. Noticed there was one thing still alpha. It's a little weird. I need to go back to check that. So
Okay.
I see Michelle is here actually. Hey Michelle.
Yeah.
Michelle.
Hello.
Okay. I don't know if you hear our discussion. So Ben, can we go? Okay. So basically I submitted a cab update. So I'm proposing the API change. So I need you to to take a look. So the main reason is I was thinking about this. I know we talked about that. We can just use, we can implement get snapshot in CSI, then we can use that. That can kind of work, but it would still be good to have that API change because it's like we're throwing away those information we already get from the create group snapshot and the get group snapshot call, and especially the pre-provision case, which I did not consider earlier. I just realize that if we do not make the API change, then for pre-provision snapshot, it's kind of very manual. Like user will have to create not just the group snapshot content, but also the individual volume snapshot contents, all of them, which is just a lot of manual work. But if we have this API change, then at least they just need to create the two objects, the group snapshot and the group snapshot content. So that's the main thing I see. in addition for dynamic operation case that we kind of know, right? So it's just we have those information, we throw them away, which can be recovered by get snapshot. But yeah, so I think it's still the API change seems to be the right way to do. But that means we need to support both V1 beta 1 and beta 2. Yeah, so you are the API reviewer, so to see what you think about that.
I like the idea of taking advantage of beta to get the API right. If we look at it and we're like, we're not happy with it, like, let's fix it before we go to V1, because once it's V1, you really can't change it. Um,
Right.
so I support that. I went through the CSI spec. I think the one that caught my eye was controller get volume. That's still alpha, and I feel like we've been using that for
Oh,
a
that
while, and it's pretty solid.
yeah. I
And
think
so
that's the one that yeah, that was the one that I was because I was doing something the other day. I was like, huh, we already because I think we also need that one for one house, but we only changed the one to GA, but not this controller get volume. Control get volume is also for other things. It's not just a volume condition. So maybe that's why. Yeah, we should probably discuss that one.
yeah,
Um,
I'll put a topic on the calendar
okay. Okay, makes
to
sense.
discuss
Yeah.
promoting it.
Okay.
Um,
Um,
okay, we're out of time. Any other questions before we
so,
end?
so Michelle, can
Oh,
you join this at the next meeting? Again, we talk about this if we can. Michelle, you're on mute now.
you don't need me there, do
Yeah,
you?
yeah, I actually joined for that one.
Oh, okay. So we just yeah, we need to close out on this one, then we rejoin that one. Okay.
Okay. All right, I'm going to
Okay.
type up the notes for this meeting, and thank you, everyone. We'll
Thank
see you in
you.
a month.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.